Hello you guys and welcome back to your favorite crochet channel. Today we are crocheting this beautiful sweater vest. I was thinking about doing this for a long time. It's similar to my other styles, so if you know my other videos and other tutorials from my summer sweaters, you might already know my stitches and everything I'm using. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. I'm finally back. This is the first tutorial of this year because I've been to Bali. If you haven't watched my vlogs yet, you can check them out. They are with English subtitles, and on my last week there I fell and my hand was completely open. This is like 3 weeks later and I wasn't able to crochet. But now I am, thankfully. So I am back and I hope you enjoy this video. As always, if you recreate something I want to see, tag me or send me DMs. I want to see everything. And now, enjoy crocheting with me. Put on your favorite playlist and let's go. So the first thing that we're crocheting twice is this little square. And just as a little reference, my first chain is going to be 68 chain ups, and from like fit wise it starts right here, like down of my shoulder, goes right there, and then here also ends a bit like drop shoulder fit. So just have a look at your body and what feels right. You can do less chains or more chains than I do. It just depends on how oversized you want the sweater to fit. For me, I wanted it to be like good oversized amount. So I'm gonna do like very dropped shoulders for the fit, but you can decide on your own. It just has to be like, you have to be able to divide it through 2. So just add in like always like pairs of 2, you know. If you want to add more from like my 68, you can do 70, 72, 74. I think you get it. Yeah, so we're going to do that twice. We're going to go through like halfway of the top, and then I'm going to leave you through this front part on your own for the rest. You can switch it up however you want, but I'm going to give you like a little guide if you're new, and you can also add as many or less rows as you want. So if you want it to be very cropped, you can do less like rows than I do, and if you want it to be a bit, I don't know, longer, you can make a dress if you want to. Then you can add more rows. For me, I'm gonna do an oversized, like medium fit, and cropped to like belly button. Yeah. So let's start. This we need to do twice. So let's go. So let's start with everything you need. So what you need is 4 different types of yarn, whatever color, whatever yarn type you want to use. It's totally up to you. But what I'm gonna use is this mohair one from We Are Knitters, but I'm gonna link all the yarns that I'm using in the description if you want to check it out. I'm gonna use this mohair one. This is 100% cotton yarn. Then this is just a random leftover yarn. I honestly don't know what it is. And this one, honestly, if I wouldn't have used it in this piece already, I would not recommend you to use it. It's like the wave wool. It's a very cool one, but it's very hard to use in combination with this one if you want to make like a perfect square, because this is gonna be, this is like a lot like thicker from the yarn type than these, and for these you don't have to like take care of do I need to maybe do some less chains in a row or more. You can just like do the same amount of chains in each row with like the different types of yarn, but with this one you would have to do like less chains, because this one is going to be a lot thicker and a lot like wider, and if you don't do less chains, your piece is going to be not perfectly squared in the end. You know what I mean? It's a bit hard to explain, but so I wouldn't recommend you to use exactly this one. This is just what I'm going to use because I used it in the other piece, but just kind of decide maybe yarns that are not that different from the strength, so that it's easier and then you don't have to like do a lot of maths. So this is what I'm gonna use, and of course my hook, as always, it's the one from Prim. It's like the 4mm one. Just have a look on like whatever yarn you're using, what's best to use for that, and I would say let's start. So this is my sketch that I did. This is the piece that I wanted to create. I'm still not sure about the ribbing though. Maybe I'm gonna leave that. We're gonna see in the end what it turns out like. But this is for the front and back piece, the row and like the stitch I'm using and in what type of yarn. And I would recommend you, like if you cannot lay down your piece and exactly know, okay, this is triple crochet in mohair. If you're like very new, sometimes it's hard to remember, like, is this like triple crochet or is it double crochet? I don't know. So if you do not my row order and just random row order, I would recommend you to just sketch it down so that you remember, because you have to do the exact same for the back piece again. And yeah, so just make sure to maybe do it like I did it. If you want to follow my order, I'm gonna link it in my Instagram crochet highlight. I'm gonna put some pictures there if you want to follow exactly what I did. But for now, let's start with our first row. So for me, I'm gonna start with my cotton yarn and I'm gonna do a slip knot. If you're not familiar with like the basics of crocheting with, like, for example, a slip knot or the different stitches that I'm using, we're gonna use like half double crochet, single crochet. I'm gonna link more detailed videos for beginners down below in the description if you want to check that out. But if you're already a pro, you know, like the stitches, this should be fine for you. We're gonna start with 68 chain ups, and as I told you before, if you want to have it like a bit more oversized or less oversized, do more or less. You just have to be able to divide it through 2 in the end. The rest is fine. So I'm gonna do 68 chain ups and make sure to not do them too tight and to do them evenly. And if you did that, whatever number you are going for, we're gonna meet again. So these are my 68 chain ups, and now whatever kind of number of chain ups you did, you're still gonna add 1 more. And now I'm gonna do half double crochets. I chained up 1, like addition 1. I'm gonna take the yarn. We're now not gonna go through this one at our hook, not the next one, but this one. And I'm only gonna go through the top loops with a half double crochet. So taking the yarn through the loop, taking the yarn again, taking it again, and slipping it through. So it's like a half double crochet means you're going to start like a double crochet, still do it like a double crochet, and now when you would usually go through the first 2 only and then again, but now you'd only gonna do like half and go through both. So I'll go through and then again. This makes the row a bit more tight, I feel like, than just a single crochet. It's a bit more secure, I feel like. So it's a good start. I love to start projects with this. And I'm gonna continue with this until I arrive at the end of this second row. And then I'm gonna show you what to do in row 3. As you can see, I'm about to finish my row. I'm gonna do 1 more half double crochet, but I'm not gonna do the full one. I'm just gonna slip through. And right before kind of like closing off, I am going to switch yarns because the next row is gonna be with mohair. And we're gonna do single crochets, and then the other, I think, upcoming 2 rows also with mohair. So we have to switch to this yarn. And You can also choose different techniques, but this is the one that works best for me, I feel like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off the yarn I was using, and I'm gonna take my new yarn, this mohair one, and I'm just gonna let it hang like right there, and I'm gonna close it off with the mohair, like the last chain, and not with the cotton. And I'm gonna pull everything tight like this, and I'm gonna chain up one for now. And then for me, for like this extra security, what I'm gonna do this at each row. You don't have to, but I love to do it because then I know everything's extra safe. I'm gonna do 2 knots, not too tight, but just like this. And then another one, just like that. We switched yarns. And now the next row is gonna be single crochets, which means we're gonna flip around the project. And we're gonna start with single crochets right into this first little hole. I'm gonna zoom in and show you. And because we're using mohair, it's a very thin yarn. You may not be able to tell what I'm doing. I'm gonna try my best to show you, but we're gonna go like right into this first loop. Because mohair is so thin, it doesn't matter if we skip the first one or not. For me, I like to get like this first one also. And we're always gonna go through, like if you have it laying down like this, the project, we're gonna go through this hole, so that if you go through and look from the top, you have these 2, like this little V part at top. It's like 2 yarns, you know. So make sure that you always go to this, through this part, so that you have 2 on top. And you're just gonna go for 1 row of single crochets. So pretty easy. And if you did that, we're gonna start with the new row. So let's meet at the end of the row again. Time to finish the 3rd row. Make sure that you get like these very last stitches too. And then we are actually gonna chain up 3 because we're gonna do a double crochet. And we're gonna do not a normal double crochet, but the double crochet mesh. If you're familiar with my other crochet tutorials, you already know what type of mesh I mean. So just chain up 1, 2, 3, turn around your project, and you're now gonna do double crochets, but we're always gonna skip 1 of the single crochets from the 3rd row. So it's a bit hard to say. Why did I choose black yarn, you guys? So we're, as you can see, here's a loop there and there. We're not going to go into this first one, we're going to go into the second one, like right here. And again, like as in the last rows, always through like this big hole part, like this one you see when you look from the top, like laying sideways, you know what I mean? So always go through this hole that you see if you look from like the top, like right there. And from the top you should have 2 mohair strings. It's always a bit hard with mohair to see, especially with black. But I feel like you could do it. And before the next one, we're always going to chain up 1. So chain up 1, then take your yarn, and this we're going to skip, like this one, and we're going to go through like this. And now again, if you closed it, you're going to chain up 1, and again go to do the mesh, like this one is the first hole. That's what we're going to skip. We're going to go through this second one right here, right there, with the double crochet, and it should look like this. Chain up 1, then skipping 1 of the single crochets from the last row and doing double crochet, chaining up 1 again, double crochet, skipping this one, going right through this one. And that's basically what we're going to continue for the next row. Yay! Oh wow, you guys, the sun is already about to go down, so The light is going to change a lot now. But I'm going to do my last mesh double crochet right now, right into this last chain right there. And I'm going to not close it up completely. So at this point where you have 2 of these loops left on your hook, you're going to cut off your excess yarn. And you're gonna switch again, yay! So now the time has come. I'm gonna use the wave wool only for 1 row. So I'm gonna do like exactly the number of stitches that I did in the rows before, just because for this 1 row it doesn't really matter. So I have some leftovers of this yarn. Hopefully, I don't think it's gonna be enough, but we're gonna try. So find the beginning of your yarn, and with the new yarn you want to close this last chain that you have to do. So you're just gonna take the yarn like this, leave it hanging right there, take it and slip it through this last chain. And now I'm gonna chain up 1 and lay everything down. And now I'm again gonna pull everything tight right here, and I'm gonna do 2 little knots just for some security. And this is again how I change yarns at each new row. I'm gonna flip around. So for row number 5 we're gonna do single crochets, and because we did mesh in the last, like in the 4th row, we're now always gonna go for 1 single crochet right into this big hole, like this big mesh part we did. So exactly through this big one with our first single crochet. And for the second one I'm always going to try to go into this chain right on top of this double crochet that we did. So if you kind of like stretch this apart like this, you will find this loop, this one right here. So on top of each of these double crochets, if you stretch it, you're gonna find this little hole right there. And that's where I'm gonna go through with my next single crochet, like this. And the next one again right through this big one, like that. And the next one again, stretch it apart and go right into this, on top of the double crochet. And that's what you're gonna do for the whole row, and then we are going to meet again if you arrive at the end. So I'm gonna do my last single crochet, and the last one is gonna go like, because you did 1 in like this big hole, the next one has to go on top of your double crochet. So we're not gonna go into this loop, not into this one, but this one right on top. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter, just go through something that feels right for you. In the end, because we're connecting the sides, you cannot even tell, like it doesn't matter where you're going through, so you can also just go like random through the middle and it will be fine. So I'm also just gonna go through like a random part on top right here, and gonna leave these 2 loops left on my hook because we're changing again, this time again to cotton yarn. So we're gonna leave it hanging right there and holding it and slipping through to close up this last chain up. And because we're doing double crochets now, we're not going to chain up 1, we're going to chain up 2. And again, if you want to, you can add your knots. You can kind of like knot these together, only light. Now turn around like this and start with your double crochets. I'm not gonna go into this very first one. I'm gonna skip this one and go into this second one. It's a bit of a better look, and I'm gonna go through each of the single crochets I did last row with a double crochet. So if you finished your row, you're gonna end up again with 68 double crochets in this case, or whatever number of chain ups you did in the beginning. And don't worry if it's like 1 or 2 too much or too less, you can just do 1 or 2 more or less in the next row. Don't worry, happens to me very often. So continue with this, and then we're going to meet again for our next mohair rows. Yay! As you can see, I'm about to do my last double crochet, and before closing it completely, like leaving these two left again, we're gonna switch yarns again to mohair. And as always, leave this end hanging and pull it through both loops, chain up one, and pull everything tight and make a knot. Now we're gonna turn around and do one row of single crochets with our mohair again. So I'm gonna go right into this first one with my first single crochet and continue for the whole row, and then we're gonna meet again at the end of the row. I'm about to arrive at the end. I'm gonna do my last two chains. Make sure to get this very last one. If it looks like this, your project, you need to get this last one, like this last stitch right there. And then we're gonna keep on going with mohair for the next row. And what we're now gonna do is we're gonna do the mesh, but not with like 2 chain ups, like the double crochet, not with 3, like the triple crochet. We're gonna do with 4. So now you have to chain up 5. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now switch around your project, and now for a double crochet you would do this, for a triple crochet you're going to do this, and for 4 chain ups you're going to do this. So what you have on your hook is 1, 2, 3, 4, as you can see. Oh, it's so hard to see with mohair, but I'm going to show you again. So you're going to go for 1, 2, 3, and then you have 4 on your hook. And with that on your hook, you're gonna go into the second single crochet you can see. So this right here, this little guy is the first one, this is the second one. So you're gonna go into this loop right there, right here, and you're gonna slip through, slip through, slip through, and slip through again. And now chain up 1 because we're doing mesh, and 1, 2, 3 on the hook. And now again in this row where you did with your mohair, like the single crochets, you're going to skip one of the single crochets you did, like this one, and you're going to go into the second one. It's a bit hard to see, but just try to find it, and then chain up all of these like this. Chain up 1, 1, 2, 3, skip one of the single crochets and go into the second one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain up 1 again, 1, 2, 3, and again skip one of the mohair single crochets you did. You have to push it a bit apart sometimes and go into the second one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what it should look like, and you're going to continue with this until you arrive at the end of the row, and then we're going to do another one of single crochets with mohair before we're switching yarns again. Finishing this row and starting with a new row with 1 row of single crochets. Oops, chain up 1, flip around. So first single crochet always goes here to this big loop. The other one goes on top of this, like right there. Oops. Like this. And we're going to continue for this whole row. Now I'm going to do my last 2 stitches right there, and my last one is going to go right there. Doesn't really matter where, just what feels right. But I'm not going to close it. I'm going to leave the 2 loops on my hook because we're gonna cut off the yarn and gonna continue with another one. I'm gonna use this, it's a bit of a thicker wool cotton kind of yarn. I don't actually know what it is. I just found it like this in my leftover yarn box and I was like, okay, let's use it. Attach it, so as always, leave the end there and slip it through and chain up one. Gonna do my knots as always. I'm gonna turn around the project, and this time we're not gonna go into the big hole and then there, because we did one row of single crochets, even if it's very hard to tell in my video, but maybe you can see in your better like in your project. But we did this row of single crochets right there, and we want to go like through each of these single crochets with another single crochet, but with this wool. Yeah, just do that and then we're gonna meet. I'm gonna finish this row, but again we're gonna switch yarns, so leaving the two loops at my hook, and I'm going to switch again to cotton yarn, and we're going to do the double crochet mesh that we did in row number 4. Switching to cotton and chaining up 1, 2, 3, and flip around your project, and we're going to start with our first double crochet. So as you know, we're always going to skip one of these loops, so we're gonna skip this one and we're gonna go right into this one, and then again I'm gonna skip this one and go into this one. So yeah, I think you know by now. So I'm gonna go right there with our double crochet, then chain up 1 before doing our next double crochet. So skipping this one and going into this one. So right there, chaining up 1, going into this one. So it should kind of look like this. Continue for the row and then we're gonna meet again. You're gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna finish the row and again we're gonna change yarn. So the last 2 loops we're gonna keep on our hook. We're gonna cut off the yarn and we're gonna switch to mohair again. And start with single crochets as always. As you know by now, 1 single crochet into the big hole and the next one right into this loop on top of your double crochet of the last row. And we're gonna continue with the single crochets till we arrive at the end of the row, and then we're again gonna do like my typical mesh stitch, but we're gonna do triple crochet mesh. Gonna do the last few single crochets. Last one's gonna go somewhere here. And then we're gonna do my mesh stitch, but we're gonna do triple crochets. So this means we're gonna chain up 1, 2, 3, 4. Gonna flip the project around. And we're gonna do not a double crochet, but a triple crochet. So you have 3 loops on your hook, and then with that you are going to go not into your first single crochet that you did right here, but into the second one. This is this one. It's right on top, or it should be right on top of the double crochet from the row before. And when you did that, you're gonna do again a chain up, and then the next triple crochet is gonna go right on top of this. So we're gonna skip this one, this single crochet, and we're gonna go right through this one on top of your double crochet from this row. So wait, I'm gonna show you. So 1, 2, this single crochet I'm gonna skip, I'm gonna go right into this one. This is on top of this, so I'm gonna go right into this, slip through the yarn, chain up, chain up, chain up, chain up, and then 1, 2, skip one of the single crochets, so skipping this one, going into this one on top of this, going through, chain up, chain up, chain up. Then we're gonna do a 1 chain up, 1, 2, and like that we are going to continue until we arrive at the end of the row. Off to the next row. I'm gonna do my last mesh stitch right there. And chain up 1, 2, because now we are going to do mesh single crochet, which means we're basically just gonna go like right now without putting anything on our hook. We're gonna go right on top of this triple crochet we did. We're gonna go right there, right here, and then we're gonna chain up 1 and then gonna do our single crochet right there, always on like in this like top loop of this triple crochet. Also like here, now you can use this. So I'm gonna go right through this one, then and then chain up 1, then single crochet right through this loop. So right there, single crochet, chain up 1, here single crochet, chain up 1. And I'm gonna continue with this till we arrive at the end of the row. Here comes our last single crochet, and I'm gonna leave both of the loops on my hook because, surprise, we're gonna change yarn. We're gonna change to cotton yarn again, and we're gonna do double crochets, but this time we are not doing the mesh double crochet. We're gonna do normal double crochet, so chain up 2 actually, flipping around my project. And now it's very important because we did a mesh single crochet. It's important right now that this is not a normal single crochet, so it means we have to do 1 double crochet into kind of like what's on top of this whole part, like right here, and 1 double crochet on top of this triple crochet, like right here, you know? So we're always gonna go into this one with a double crochet, into this one with a double crochet, into this one with a double crochet, then again this one, then here. And it's a bit hard to see, but just remember, always 1 double crochet into this big part and 1 into this small one. Time for my last few double crochets, and then it's time again to change yarns. This time we're gonna change to the wavy wool again that I have. For you, just use like maybe wool, but maybe not like wavy wool, maybe just like something like a bit thicker than the cotton one that you are currently using, because now we're gonna do the part that is gonna be kind of where your chest area is. So it's kind of to make it a bit less see-through. So maybe use a bit of a thicker yarn material if you want to, but you can also do it like mesh like you did and then just wear something underneath. Or just show what you got. So feel free to do whatever you want to. I'm gonna do it with like this wave wool, even if it's a bit complicated to knit with. Whatever type of yarn you're using, like if you're just using something like this, as you can see, it's kind of like twice as thick as my cotton one, I would still do the same amount of chains. For your info, what we're going to do now is we're going to do 8 rows of single crochets. But if you have like not a yarn as thick as I'm using, I would recommend you to do the same amount of single crochets, but maybe just do not single crochets but half double crochets, because as I showed you earlier, the half double crochets are always a bit less see-through. So if you want the pattern to be very snatched, not see-through at all, do like a bit thicker yarn, maybe cotton one like this, but half double crochets for the upcoming 8 rows with the same amount of stitches that you did before. So for me it would have been 68. Whatever type of chains you started with would be the same, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna now do my 8 rows of single crochets with this yarn, and then I'm gonna meet you guys again. You guys, here we are. To be honest, I'm gonna let you continue in whatever style you want to, because this I feel like is the most important part, because for me, I love my sweater vest to be very see-through at the top and then have this like a bit less see-through boobs part. And then for the rest, I'm gonna do lots of mesh too again, just like kind of the same like here. So you can continue however you want. You can just repeat this. You can go to my Instagram highlight, crochet highlight, and have a look at my order of rows that I'm gonna do to continue. But I'm just gonna leave you on your own right here. And you just have to continue for as many rows as you want to. So this is what we did now. It's this part. It's kind of like, for me, right where my chest area is ending. That's how far this top part is right now. You could just add a few more rows and just leave it like that for a very cropped style. For me, I want to do it like, as I told you, for like kind of where my belly button is. So I'm going to continue for 10 more rows, and then let's see. You can also add a lot of more rows, but yeah, wow, I love it. I'm gonna continue with some more rows, and then you can do so too, and then we're gonna meet again to connect everything. But that's something for tomorrow. I have to catch some sleep. So we'll see you tomorrow. Welcome back, another day. Time to finish the crochet project. So I just finished front part and back part. Still not sure if it's long enough for me. Thinking about maybe adding some more rows, but I'm also thinking like it's gonna stretch, because always with these pieces where you crochet lots of mesh and with mohair, it does stretch a bit. So I'm not sure. I mean, I can always add more rows even after connecting. You can do too, because we're gonna connect like only at the sides, which means just in case that if we try it on when we already connected everything, we could still add more rows just by crochet around. So I'm probably gonna leave it like that first for now. But yeah, that's what it's looking like right now. And what we're now gonna do is we're gonna connect right there, like at the top shoulder part, and then underneath where our arm is going through. And then I'm gonna add 1 or 2 rows right here around the arm, just to, I don't know, add some more detail. But first, I hate this part. We have to, yeah, sew in all these ends. And that's gonna take a while. Well, we're going to do that now. So I'm going to show you how to sew in all these ends. And I always forget to sew them in directly while crocheting. That would be way smarter, but never mind. I'm gonna sew them in right now and then we're gonna connect. So let's go. Let me show you real quick how to sew in all these very not nice looking ends, because we need this side to be clean, like this side, and on the other piece, because this is where we're connecting and we want it to be clean. So all you need is your scissors and your hook. And what we're gonna do, we're always gonna take both of the ends where we did like our little knot, and we're gonna cut them somewhere same like here. And then we are just going to kind of like take our needle randomly somewhere in between the stitches we did in the same row as we did the knots together. And then we're just gonna take these two yarns with our hook and we're gonna pull them through like this. And we're gonna continue doing this until this part is sewn in. I'm gonna cut off the rest that is like hanging here, because we don't need to sew in everything. Just like this, so that it looks nice and that we don't have them here. So I'm gonna continue doing this for all of these. You can do that too on all of your pieces on each side, and then we're gonna connect. You guys, I just finished sewing in all of the ends of both pieces, as you can see. And now what we're gonna do is we are going to lay everything down. Make sure that you lay it in front of you, like here is your face going to be, and this is the bottom of your shirt. So here is your head and here are your shoulders. And you're gonna take your second part and you're gonna lay it down in the same direction. So make sure that it's the exact same order of rows, like this. And what we're now gonna do is we're gonna connect this front piece to the back piece with our shoulder part. I'm gonna start with my connecting stitch that I'm always using, from outside to inside with my bit fluffier cotton one. I recommend you to use your cotton yarn or a bit of a thicker cotton yarn, whatever you want to use, just something easy. And I'm gonna start from both of these sides, like one time from here to there, one time from here to there. And I think I am going to do around about 15 centimeters on each side. And this space that we're leaving out is where our head is going. And what you can do, what I also always do, I'm gonna sew 15 centimeters from here to there. And I'm gonna leave a bit more material hanging so that I can choose, after trying to get my head through, that I can choose if I need to add some more stitches, if I want the neck part to be thinner, or if I have to remove a few stitches if it's too tight around my neck. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna link to you my favorite connecting stitch in the description as always. You can connect your two pieces together however you like. For me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay this one down like this and this like this. So I just folded it up, you know? So this was how it was lying and now I flipped it. So our neck part from this piece is facing the neck part from this piece. And now I'm starting connecting from this side from the outside to the inside for around 15 centimeters, and then from the other side too. one side is connected. Now switching over to the other side. I left some yarn hanging so I could, if I want to, close it a bit more in the end. So now off to this side and closing out from this side to the middle again for around 15 centimeters. Everything is connected, as you can see. This is where my head is, I think, going through, hopefully going through. Looks a bit small, but I didn't properly close them, so I could just pull the strings apart and then I can open up a few of my stitches. So yeah, that should be fine. Now you're gonna grab it at your shoulder parts. You're gonna pull it up and lay it down in front of you. So this is where your head is. And now we have to take a look at our sides. As you know, this is where our arm has to go through. So what you can do is you're gonna now try it on, put your head through, and then mark with, you could use everything. You could use an earring, you could use a string, you could use a needle, or a proper marker. You're gonna try it on, you're gonna mark where it feels comfortable to have the arm opening. For me, I like it's very oversized, so I like my arm part to be very oversized. I'm gonna show you while I try on, 1 second. Funny story, while trying it on, I already had to open up a few stitches up here. And now, as a reference, for me, I'm now gonna take a look what would feel comfortable to close. I feel like it would be this part. So I would like my sweater not to be closer together than this non-see-through chest part. So I'm gonna connect from here down there till only where this non-see-through part is starting. And then I'm gonna start adding my rows around the sleeves, but I think I don't want it to be more tight around my arm, just because I personally don't like the look, but you can choose how close you want it to be. So yeah, I'm gonna close it, and then we only have to add the sleeves and then we're finished. Guys, I just connected everything. So the sides are closed and the top. I love it! Ah! And I feel like the length is pretty good because like here's my belly button and it goes kind of like perfectly where I wanted it to go. And I feel like it's gonna stretch a bit, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And what we're now gonna do, just to make it look a bit more, I don't know, put together, I wanna add a bit of a bigger ending right here so that it kind of matches the top part right here, as you can see. So I'm gonna add, I don't know, I think maybe 1 row of half double crochets at the sleeves, and then I'm finished. So this is the sleeve part right here, and I'm gonna take my cotton yarn again and start with a slip knot, and I am going to attach this new string, a random part at the sleeve, like a bit more down there. So I'm always gonna go in the last stitches of the rows that I can find. It doesn't have to be perfect because in the end you can't really tell what stitches you use, but just try to find the most outside part to stitch in you can find, and make sure that, for example, here we have a triple crochet, that you do 3 half double crochets in this row, then 1 right here because this is 1 stitch, 1 here because it's 1, and so on. So this was like the 4 chain up, so we would have to do 4 right here because we're going sideways. But wait, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna take my slip knots that I just did. I'm gonna pull it through this random side part and gonna chain up 1, and now I'm always gonna do half double crochets just right where I feel like it could be right. And I'm always trying to match the number of stitches that I did in the row before for example here it's 2, as you can see, 1 here and 1 there. So I'm gonna do 1 half double crochet here in this stitch. I'm just gonna continue like this all around till I arrive right here, and then I'm gonna see if I want to add maybe another row. If you're interested in doing a long sleeve, you could just start adding more rows over and over again. But yeah, I'm just gonna do 1 or maybe 2. Let's see. I'm about to do my last half double crochet right there, and then I'm gonna connect and add another row, which means I'm just gonna use a slipped stitch on this very first chain ups we did. I'm gonna slip that through and chain up 1 and start my second row of half double crochets in each of those that we did the row before. And then after that I'm gonna connect again with a slip stitch, slip through and cut off the yarn, and then we're finished with our sleeve. You can repeat that to the other side of the sleeve as well, and then I'm gonna show you my finished product and I want to see yours too. Good morning! Next day, I'm about to do the last finishing touches. I just have to attach my tags and then I'm finished. Wow! It's day number 3 now of me filming. I'm pretty proud. That was a quick project, kind of. I think next one is gonna be maybe the balaclava. Like the one I did on my Instagram. I don't know if you've seen it. The tighter one. Because for the other balaclava, like the granny square one, that you can see right there, filming, for this one I already have a tutorial up, but you guys wanted one for the other, so maybe gonna film that too, but for now let's finish this one. This was the tutorial and this is the finished product. I hope you're happy with what you created. If yes, go send me pictures. Tag me in your Instagram posts, wherever I want to see everything, because this is always my favorite part, seeing your recreations, because then I'm always like, wait, people actually do my tutorials. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed and I hope to see you in the next video. I'm probably gonna do the balaclava as I said earlier, but let's see. Always open for recommendations. And now I wish you all an amazing rest of the day. Bye! Possible without